Well, if you saw the transfer special from a couple of days ago, you'll understand why I'm a little bit nervous going into today's first couple of games in the Premier League. Hello and welcome to Club 4 Part 6 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we are playing our first two games at the highest level of English football. We're in the Premier League finally. I say finally, it's only been 5 years, isn't it? What a meteoric rise we've done this year. We'll have this save finished by the end of January at this rate. I don't think we're going to be winning the Premier League anytime soon. We're kicking things off with a home game against West Ham, which is going to be a good indicator of how we're going to be getting on for the rest of the season. West Ham finished mid-table last year, and as I keep going on about, we did beat them 4-0 in the FA Cup last season as well when we were still down in the Championship. So that's going to be interesting. If we can get a result against West Ham, I'm fairly confident we should be able to finish mid-table, lower mid-table. We're then going to have a serious test away against Manchester City, who are going to absolutely batter us. But it's one of those situations, again, another one of those seasons where the board want us to avoid relegation, or in fact, they said, I think the board expectation is battle bravely against relegation. So it's another one of those where even if we get relegated, I'll probably get away with it. Fulham have had 4 years out of the Premier League at this point. There you go, fight bravely against relegation. So I think we just need to win some of our home games and hope it's enough. We certainly don't need to be expecting to get any kind of result against Manchester City, especially after the transfer window that we've had. If you didn't watch the half-hour transfer special the other day, here's the very brief summary of it. We barely signed anybody. We got Aubameyang on a free transfer, but before you get too excited, remember this is a 34-year-old Aubameyang now. Someone was mentioning down in the comments when I signed him, use his pace. Yeah, he's 34 now. His pace is 11. He's not quite Mr. Pacey anymore, and he's not scored a goal for nearly 2 years. So we'll see. He's a bit of a dice roll. Then we've got a couple of youngsters who've come in, and the only real player of note is Shane Duffy, who's 31, and we spent £10 million on him just because we needed another defender and we couldn't find anybody else. And we did sign Sean Keegan right at the end as well, but he's really just going to be a backup winger for us, plus a couple of kids, one of which is on loan. That was it. That was our transfer window. And it means that the team has a very familiar look about it going into this first game of the new season, partly because there's some injuries as well. Mitrovic is injured, so I think we are going to start Aubameyang on the first. We're going to play him as a poacher, though. We're going to change up the system a little bit, play Aubameyang as a poacher, and the rest of the team is pretty much last year's team, with the only exception being Duffy being drafted into it, who wants to be a no-nonsense centre-back. Well, you know what? Be a no-nonsense centre-back then, Duffy. And also Tinio, who is here on loan for another season. He's also injured, so Mendy's going to have to play as our half-back. But this is the team. It's very similar to the team that beat West Ham last year. The only difference is we've got Aubameyang in it. So, in theory, Aubameyang is better than Mitrovic. Is that his name? It is Mitrovic. So we'll see. We've got Rinner in goal, a back four of Brian, Mawson, Duffy and Larson, with Mendy as our holding midfielder, Cullen and Colleron in midfield, Aubameyang up front, supported by Matriza and Hall. It's going to be a big season for Hall. If Simon Hall can carry on progressing the way he did last year, we might have a proper Premier League superstar on our hands. And also, is Larson going to be able to make the step up? Larson was the highest rated player in the Championship last season, got so many assists for us, was such an important player, but he's 33 now. Is he going to be able to make the step up? We've got a team of old men, basically. So let's calmly say, I am expecting you to win because we beat them 4-0 last time. I think that's what we've got to remember. I don't know who he is. I don't care that he's missing. Let's get out there and let's see if we can play a different type of football, because obviously the controlling possession system that we've been using does rely on us having a complete forward. The Mitrovic, the McBurney up there, just linking everything up, holding up the play. And Aubameyang isn't really that kind of player, but he has just won a penalty in the first minute of the match, which he's going to take himself. Can Aubameyang get off the mark for Fulham a minute into his debut? He can. There you go. He's still got it, boys and girls. It doesn't. That's his first Premier League goal for about 2 years. It doesn't matter that it was a penalty. He won it himself. We still don't know how mobile he is. We still don't know how threatening he's going to be from open play. But he's a wily old veteran who can win himself a penalty. We're top of the Premier League. He's a wily old veteran who can win himself a penalty and then tuck it away beautifully. So, you know, you sign a new striker, he gets a goal on his debut. That's always handy, especially handy when the top scorer from last season starts the season injured. So I'm reserving judgment at the moment because it was a penalty, but we do seem to be playing quite well. We're not controlling possession the way we have done previously, but then I don't suppose we're going to come up to the Premier League and get 60% possession every match like we were getting down in the Championship, because at this level we're not a team of players that are much better than our opposition like we were against most of the opposition down in the league below. Here is Hull, first proper look at him, finds Calderon just from the edge of the area. If he'd have made it 2-0 there, I'd have been giddy. That would have been marvellous stuff. But you know what? If we can go into half-time 1-0 up, I don't care that this is a team that we thumped last year. We're actually playing really well against them this year as well. We're doing all right. Let's be passionate. No, in fact, let's be assertive. Guard against complacency. Whenever it's there, always a good option. And fingers crossed we can... I was going to say hold on, but looking at the stats, we should be thinking in terms of getting another goal, because although possession's been fairly equal, West Ham have not really created anything at all, and we have been the better team in this game. We're passing better, we're tackling better, we're heading much better, we're just generally playing better than they are, and that's what we need to be aware of in the Premier League. It's not about knocking the ball around and being all fancy, because there's players of much higher quality at this level that are going to have moments of brilliance, and luckily the crossbar saved us there, but we can't afford, when we're controlling a game the way we are, to only be 1-0 up, because we are going to concede goals at this level. Because as we identified on the transfer special, as good as our defence might be, and I think our back four probably is still the strongest part of our team, our goalkeepers, one of them's League One standard, one of them's Championship standard. We don't have a Premier League quality goalkeeper. So if you get shots like that and they're on target, they're going to go in quite often. So we need to be scoring more than one goal in a game. Larson with the cross ends up finding Calderon, who's in space and probably should have done better than he did there. He's blasted that over the bar, at least make the keeper make a save. But Aubameyang's just won a header. I don't know. We need to keep an eye on his fitness, because I don't know if he's got full games in him. Again, it's his first Premier League goal for 2 years. It's his first start in the Premier League for a year. I don't know when the last time he played a full 90 minutes is. We've really got to figure out in these early games how fit he's likely to be. He's in on a 1-year contract, earning very little for a player of his calibre. He's only on about £25,000 a week, only. So is that because he knows he's pretty much done? Or is that because he was desperate for he might have a couple more seasons left in him yet? We can't really judge him yet. But he's not. I mean, bearing in mind he's got a goal, he's on a 6.8. That suggests he's probably not playing particularly well. And he's tired. Right, we've got McBurney there on the bench, and he can be our complete forward that we normally use. In fact, we don't want him to be on support. Complete forward on attack. And Simon Hall also not having a great game. The midfielders, no one's really having a good game in midfield. No one's really having a good game anywhere in the team, apart from Johan Larsson, who's just doing it again because he's just a hero. Right, we're going to bring on a midfielder. We're going to bring on Hussein Perbai in midfield. This is the one who's actually our Perbai, because we've sent the one that was on loan back, because we can't have two Perbais. It was too confusing for me. But Perbai is, if you watch my other series, my home series, Perbai's done a bit of a Mick Powell over the summer and has suddenly turned into a player who, bearing in mind he never really even got on the bench in the Championship last year, I always knew but McBurney was good. Perbai now looks like a decent squad player for the Premier League, so he's come on leaps and bounds. And Oliver McBurney, who I've written off from the moment I arrived at Fulham, even though, as people rightly point out, he got 10 goals from 13 starts last season, I've written him off all the way through. He's just got his first Premier League goal. Right, time for a final substitution, I think. Let's have a little look. We have got Mark Albrighton. I think we're going to bring Mike Albrighton, Mark's brother. Albrighton's going to come from Matrica on that left wing. He's played a lot there for us last season. I mean, he was our regular starter there last season, and Matrica hasn't he's another one who's not exactly looked outstanding today. So let's get Albrighton on, see if he's still got it at his age. There is Matriza with the cross, and McBurney's in again, Hall's in, Purbye's in. How many bites of the cherry do we need there? Look at these stats, by the way. We're playing Fulham football from last season. We're playing very, very well. And here's Hall again, hopefully starting to get used to life in the Premier League. McBurney's got his second goal. Oh, my word. Is McBurney going to be my striker in the Premier League after I barely used him in the Championship because I just didn't like the look of him? From the moment I arrived, I thought Mitrovic is the better striker. Never gave McBurney a chance. Well, that's been 2 excellent finishes. He's only been on the pitch 11 minutes and he's got 2 Premier League goals. Yes, proceed with change. Are we going to do a 4-0 on West Ham again? We're back to the top of the Premier League again, boys and girls. We couldn't have hoped for a better start than this. Obviously, it is all going to go wrong against Man City in the next match. But even when it goes wrong, that's not it going wrong because we're not expecting to beat Man City. We're expecting to go there and lose. But this is one of those games where if we're going to have a chance of staying up, these are the games we have to be winning. And we've won it comfortably. And that's awesome. Hall running at the defence again, finds Cullen. Cullen makes it 4 in the 93rd minute for the second time in 2 matches against West Ham. It is Fulham 4, West Ham United 0. What a way to announce our arrival back into the Premier League after 4 years away. What just happened? I don't know why that just happened. That was weird. It ruined my little speech. My goodness me, we've just won 4-0 on our first game in the Premier League. We're going to win the league, everybody. Champions League winners by 2025. Passionate. Well done, lads. That was superb. Right, now we need to go and take our medicine away against Manchester City and bring us back down to earth a little bit. Couple of changes for the Man City game. Then the big news, though, we are going to go there and see what happens if we try and play positively and control possession. They've just beaten Southampton 5-0 on the opening day of the season, so they're top of the league. We're second. It's a top-of-the-table clash. We've brought Tinio back in for Mendy because he's our more natural and better half-back, and now he's fit. He can come straight into the team. We're also going to start McBurney. We looked so much better with McBurney in the team towards the end of that game. Probably largely because he was playing the role that we want to play. So I think even if Aubameyang comes on in this game, we might see if we can get him to play this role rather than the poacher that doesn't really fit into the way we want to play. But other than that, we're not changing anything. In fact, do I want to put Albrighton on the bench? I probably do want to put Albrighton on the bench. I don't know that we need Mendy and Purbye on the bench. So Albrighton can come back up onto the bench because it seems silly not to have a winger on the bench when we usually have to make that change at some point. Plus, Albrighton's our Premier League winner. We've got to have our Premier League winners in and around the team as we arrive back in the Premier League. Well, there's Manchester City then. Okay, we're not worried. Team talk. Let's... oh, my word. Passionately, we're the underdogs here and that suits us down to the ground. Let's go cause an upset. Exactly. Let's do that. I can't tell them I expect to beat Manchester City because I absolutely don't. I'm expecting us to get absolutely battered, and then we can have a discussion in the comments after the video about what to do in these big away games, because I don't know that we're good enough to go to these teams and defend because we don't have a decent goalkeeper, although we have got some decent defenders. So it is our best hope coming here and doing that and attacking them and scoring after a minute and a half, and it's Oliver McBurney again. I don't understand. Where's this come from? I told you all he was good, but none of you would have it. Perhaps this is what we need to do, but I think they're still probably going to outscore us. But I guess we have more of an opportunity to steal a result in games like this if we try and play positively and score goals, rather than if we just go to these places and try and defend and not concede. So I don't think we'll achieve that very well. So perhaps this is the right way to come and play these games. Come to Man City and try and control possession and attack them. There's your logic as a newly promoted Premier League side. And Stones heads just over from the corner. Imagine if we came here and won. My word, we're not going to win. Let's not get too overexcited. I do feel like we probably need a significant defeat today just to keep our feet on the ground, because after that opening day, if we do win here, which we're not going to, but if we did, I think we'd have some silly boys with some silly expectations going into the next 10 games or so, and that could cause us problems. So we need a reality check. I want to win. I really want to win. Matrica does brilliantly to intercept there. Back to Brian. And there's the Fulham that we were expecting to see today. We're trying to knock the ball around and control possession with our little short passing. Knock it back to the keeper. Brian just mistimes it completely. He sold the keeper so short there. There were so many options ahead of him. He could have gone to any of these players. But in the end, he's played a beautiful little through ball. And it's 1-1, and it was absolutely self-inflicted. And I guess that's shown you in the first 20 minutes of this match, the positives and negatives of coming in and playing our own game. Because if we hadn't have been attacking, we wouldn't have scored the goal we scored. But if we'd have just been 5 across the back, lumping it forward every time the defenders got it, we wouldn't have conceded that goal, because we wouldn't have been just trying to keep possession of the ball and play it back to our goalkeeper. Bottom line, it's 1-1 at half time, so I guess you've got to argue it's worked. But it would have been nice to just lump the ball forward there. But he was doing exactly what I told him to. I didn't tell him to play a through ball to their player, but we are under instruction to keep hold of the ball. We haven't been the better team, that's nonsense. You know what? I am pleased with how things are going so far. That one moment of madness aside, we've played very well. He says we've had 37% possession and 1 shot on target. We've played very well. We scored a goal. That's how football fans decide if you've had a good game, isn't it? Did you win it? Oh, you played well then. Did you score? You're a good striker then. That's how these things are decided, I'm sure. I've been to enough football matches and heard enough nonsense. Right, Larson, is he going to... Oh, my word. Larson very near... I mean, I want to see my VAR there. That felt over the line. But now Larson's going to take the corner and he doesn't beat the first player. But that was an absolute beauty of a free kick from Larson that against any other than an absolute top goalkeeper, that's going in. Right, Joe Bryan, it is time to take him off now. We'll bring Sessegnon on at left back. Cullen is not having a great game, so Mendy can come on for him. And that will do fine for now. We have got Aubameyang and Mitrovic on the bench who can come on if we feel like we need them. But McBurney's doing a decent job. Perhaps he's my new first choice striker. I don't know. He's got 3 Premier League goals. That's got to tell you something about him, surely. But City are coming at us again here, and my word, do they terrify me when they do that? Right, Mitrovic has picked up a knock, so that seems like an easy opportunity to get Albrighton onto the bench. I'm glad I brought him onto the bench now. Aubameyang can just sit there and watch on and cash his £23,500 a week wages that he's on. I mean, he can't play 2 games in a week anyway. He's an old man. He's nearly as old as I am. He's like the David Noble of this world, although David Noble is still in this world and got promoted. I don't know if I mentioned it on the transfer special video. I brought him in as an under-18 assistant manager, and then my director of football moved him up to first team coach after about 3 weeks. So it's not just me who loves David Noble. My director of football said, yeah, that guy is better than you think he is. First team coach for him. Oh, it's going to be gutting if we concede here at the last possible moment, but they are all over us. But it looks like we've clung on. We have clung on. 1-1 is a fantastic result in the circumstances. I did not expect to be coming out of this video with 4 points and 5 goals. That is a good start to Premier League season by any definition. Right, when are we going to be back? We don't want to leave it too long. Premier League's a slightly shorter season, only 38 games rather than 46. For those of you who don't know anything about Premier League football, I obviously am an expert. I don't know. Liverpool, maybe. Liverpool looks interesting. Liverpool and Brighton could be a fun episode. Or maybe... No, I think we do Liverpool and Brighton, don't we? We will be back for Liverpool, and we'll be back on Monday, New Year's Eve. Remember, we've still got the festive schedule going on for another week or so yet. Back to normal daily videos again from Monday the 7th of January. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.